Q9113. Which procedure is recommended to prevent or overcome spatial disorientation? A. Reduce head and eye movement to the greatest possible extent. B. Rely on the kinesthetic sense. C. Rely entirely on the indications of the flight instruments. The correct answer is C. To prevent or overcome spatial disorientation, it is recommended for pilots to rely entirely on the indications of the flight instruments. Spatial disorientation occurs when there is a mismatch between the sensory information perceived by the body and the actual orientation of the aircraft. This can happen when visual cues are limited or misleading, such as during low visibility or in conditions where there are no external visual references. The flight instruments provide accurate and reliable information about the aircraft's attitude, altitude, and heading. By maintaining a primary focus on the flight instruments and cross-checking them regularly, pilots can overcome the misleading sensations and rely on objective data for maintaining spatial orientation. Reducing head and eye movement to the greatest possible extent is not recommended, as it can limit the pilot's ability to scan the instruments and the external environment effectively. Relying solely on the kinesthetic sense, body sensations, can be misleading and may contribute to spatial disorientation. 9115. While making prolonged constant rate turns under IFR conditions, an abrupt head movement can create the illusion of rotation on an entirely different axis. This is known as A. Autokinesis, B. Coriolis illusion, C. The leans. The correct answer is B. The Coriolis illusion is an illusion that can occur during prolonged constant rate turns. When the pilot suddenly moves their head or eyes, such as to check an instrument or look outside the aircraft, the fluid in the inner ear can continue to move in the direction of the original turn. This can create the perception that the aircraft is rotating on a different axis, leading to a false sense of movement or rotation. It is important for pilots to be aware of this illusion and to rely on the flight instruments for accurate information about the aircraft's attitude and movement. Avoiding sudden head movements and maintaining a stable reference to the flight instruments can help mitigate the effects of the Coriolis illusion. 9433. Haze can give the illusion that the aircraft is A. Closer to the runway than it actually is. B. Farther from the runway than it actually is. C. The same distance from the runway as when there is no restriction to visibility. The correct answer is B. Haze in the atmosphere can reduce visibility and make objects, including the runway, appear less distinct and farther away. The reduced contrast and depth perception caused by haze can create the illusion that the aircraft is farther from the runway than it actually is. This can lead to misjudgments of approach and landing distances. Pilots should be aware of this illusion and take it into account when flying in hazy conditions. It is important to use visual cues such as runway markings, lights, and navigational aids to maintain accurate situational awareness and ensure a safe approach and landing. 9434. Sudden penetration of fog can create the illusion of A. Pitching up, B. Pitching down, C. Leveling off. The correct answer is A. When an aircraft enters a fog bank or dense fog suddenly, the lack of visual reference points can lead to spatial disorientation. Without clear visual cues, the pilot's sense of up and down can become confused. In this situation, there is a tendency for pilots to perceive the aircraft as pitching up, even if it is maintaining a level attitude or even pitching down. This illusion is known as the pitching up illusion and can be a result of the lack of visual cues and the disorienting effect of the fog. It is important for pilots to rely on their flight instruments and trust the aircraft's attitude indicator rather than relying solely on visual references when flying in foggy conditions. 9434-1. Penetrating fog while flying an approach at night. You might experience the illusion of A. Pitching up, B. Flying at a lower altitude, C. Constant turning. The correct answer is A. When flying in fog, the lack of visual references can cause a loss of spatial orientation. The absence of a visible horizon makes it difficult for pilots to accurately perceive their aircraft's attitude. As a result, pilots may experience the illusion of pitching up, feeling as though the nose of the aircraft is pointing higher than it actually is. This illusion can lead to the pilot making incorrect control inputs, potentially resulting in a dangerous situation. It is important for pilots to rely on their flight instruments and maintain proper instrument scan techniques to overcome this illusion and maintain control of the aircraft.